Praise to the Most High. We just want to come before you briefly. Let's first say fair use. Fair use. Copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976. Allowances is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comments, news reporting, teaching, scholarships, education, and research. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. So, first of all, we want to thank Amy here on Democrat Now. We're gonna use her interview. She has it laid out, and she's interviewing Dr. Claude Anderson, and Dr. Claude Anderson is telling us about the Second Amendment and how it was intended, and how it was intended to benefit white people and not black people. And she's also talking about the Dred Scott case. And we just want to make some comments on those issues. We're going to let it play. But first of all, I want to tell you, we are God's chosen people. First of all, your identity matters. I had somebody ask me, what does it matter if I know my identity? That don't matter. We hear people saying that all the time. But here's how your identity matters as it pertains to the laws that they make, the laws of the land. We say, oh, nothing wrong with the laws that they make. Right. But there's nothing wrong with the laws of the land. And we know the common law, it comes from the Bible. The rights of indigenous people, those laws, they are basically constructed from the concept of God's Bible law, moral and civic laws. How Israelites should treat Israelites in the Mosaic law is basically where they draw their concept of law. Right? So there's no argument, do unto others as you have them to do unto you, right? So they made sure they draw their concept from a source that couldn't be argued with, the Bible. You don't have to believe it. You say, that Old Testament, old laws, it's a new world where you're still following under God's never changing ideology of how people should treat each other. So I said all that to say this. These laws that they make, they're for their citizens. Get that in your head. Stop and get that in your head, because everybody that do an interview for the United States or their representative will never bring this out to you, what I'm telling you now. The laws that they make is for their citizens and for people who consent to them being governors over them. Stop and think about that. Wonder why they change up their laws and they use it, because they control their citizenship. They are the governors of their citizens. So they can use our laws for them, but when it comes to us trying to be their citizen, then they don't have to play that. They can create another law for people who don't know who they are. Now, you say, well, the Constitution's not for us and all that, we 3/5 of. Yes. If you let them preside over you. Now, the only way their laws help us is that we come back to our proper person and not be a corporation construct of their citizenship, a resident in their make-believe government, make-believe country, make-believe country, right? Because when they say country, they don't have a country. They are vagabonds and fugitives all over the earth. They don't come in our land and call our land their country. That's not legal. According to God, according to their own stolen laws from the Mosaic laws, you can't go into somebody's land and be sovereign over their land, over them in their land. You can't do that. There's nowhere on earth you can do that. That's illegal. It makes you a fugitive, and you're away from your house, your homeland, which is Assyria. They're supposed to be in the Caucasus Mountains. They cannot come here and establish their country in our land and just ignore us, regardless of how many years far removed from our government and our ancestry. They are still fugitives, terrorists, and they're illegally here. They're vagabonds. This is not their home. Okay, they are in control because we are under gunpoint. We need to make that very clear. We are under gunpoint. The only reason we do what they tell us to do is not because we're free. And we need to realize that so we can unite back to our proper persona. We are the Israelites. We were here over 2,000 years before they got here, or somewhere around there, close to there. We are the original Americans, the indigenous people of this land, the copper tone people. You have to identify that before their laws, their constitution can be helpful to you. For one reason is their constitution divides states. You have the indigenous state, and we're not united right now, so we can't be united indigenous. They are united because that's why you say, well, they can be arguing and then come together and fight against us. Because that's why they call themselves the United States. But they are not a country in our country. They are a state that has occupied our land and forced us around by gunpoint and false laws. My people perish for lack of knowledge. I'm trying to help y'all to wake up, man. That's all I've been doing on this channel since I started. Because I know my people do not know what being free is according to God. Oh, well, that ain't what the Constitution. No, you got to ignore what they are saying and acknowledge what God is saying. We are His chosen people. If we keep His laws and commandments and come back to our proper persona, bethink thyself. Come back to your proper persona. If thou wilt bethink yourself, you remember who you are. You go look and find out who I say you are. Ask your ancestors. They'll tell you who you are. Your grandma, your grandma's grandma, your grandfather's grandfather. They will tell you the days of old who you were. Okay? Come back to your proper persona. We are men and women standing on our land. You are invading us, and you have our inheritance. When they realize that all of us are thinking the same way and we have come back to our proper identity, they can no longer say, well, those people don't know who they are. Let's keep extorting them, because they ain't gonna argue. They ain't gonna come to court, show up in court when one traffic stop should bring all of us to the scene. All of us should come to the scene, but we just stand around and let them do anything they want to do to one or two of us without us gathering up on the scene. You see the Latinos now. When ICE come out and grab one, everybody come out to the street and watch with their cameras. You can't do anything to them in secret because they all come out. That's something we should learn. And we should not be doing it for other nations until they start doing that for us. But we should all come to the scene of every traffic stop. I don't care where you are, you drive by. It shouldn't be no one person stopping, two people. Everybody that drive by and see a police stopping a black person, we should stop and put our cameras on him and tell him, take his hands off our people. He do not have the rights to stop us in his traffic stop because he is in an imaginary territory. He governs an imaginary territory. This is our territory, indigently people. This is our territory first. We are sovereign to this territory, and he is just visiting. He's trespassing. And when you all stop and say that, and you get 50 people around 4 or 5 police cars, they will back down. And we need to do that on everything they pull up on the scene and try to police us. We need to call people, say, hey, we right here, come on the scene. Call, and everybody needs to pile in on that scene whenever they doing some false arresting and false policing. So we're gonna listen to this video with sister. I guess she's a sister, but they will not tell you that it's going to take us to unite in our proper persona and stand as the indigenous people of the land. They done took and gave money, not our tax monies, but then gave our citizens our rights to this land to their appointed delegates. To their delegates, just like Alexander the Great, he's the first one that started doing it. They did it. They continue. The devil has no new bag of tricks, and they continue, and that's what they do. That's what their government is about, to keep passing their stolen identity and their delegation to rule over people in their own land down from one generation to another generation. This lady's not going to tell you she got Carol Anderson on here explaining, and people look and say, yeah, she's doing her job. They still haven't told these people that they are sovereign in this land and they shouldn't give a damn about the Constitution or being a citizen or a resident to a fake United States country. Okay, let's watch.
Gun violence soars in the United States. We spend the rest of the hour looking at the Second Amendment and its racist roots. Democracy Now!'s Nermeen Sheikh and I recently interviewed Carol Anderson, author of the new book, The Second.
I just want to say this. They're talking about gun violence, right? But they are really not going to the source of the gun violence. We stole these people's land, and now they got to fight for every crumb they get. We put them in a position to where they do not have enough provision. We have all their provision. We have all their inheritance. If they are not good people. These people are not good people. They fight amongst themselves all the time for territory, for status, and they still can stand up and say, look how violent these people are. But look at us. They use themselves as an example. We have this, we have that. We have enough of this, enough of that. We are very resourceful. We are very, we use their resources right. We share. We make sure all our people got enough. We make sure we don't have to fight over crumbs. But they won't say the source is them stealing our stuff. The reason why we are so-called fighting gun violence in our community at all is they are the cause of it. Them being here controlling and stealing our inheritance and our identity and knowing the truth and never presenting it to us.
Race and Guns in a Fatally Unequal America. In the book, Professor Anderson details how the Second Amendment was written to empower local militia groups to put down slave revolts and protect plantation owners. She writes the Second Amendment is, quote, rooted in fear of black people to deny them their rights, to keep them from tasting liberty. Professor Anderson joined us from Atlanta, where she teaches at Emory University. She's also the author of One Person.
Go buy that book. Go buy that book. Buy that book. Because the things she category and the things she speak on is what we should be thinking about, right? Is what we should be thinking about as we unite back together.
No vote, how voter suppression is destroying our democracy, and also white rage, the unspoken truth of our racial.
Now, voter suppression, which should be something we don't even care about. We should not be voting in their system. We should not care. We should not be a part of their voting system, because the whole system is to make us think that we not to unite, and wonder why she won't say that. be, because she's confused and she's by herself, and she know how these people attack you when you tear down their imaginary uh, checkpoints, and so the people can look over into the right lane and find out what's really going on. Pull down the curtain behind so the wizard can be exposed. When you do that, then they will attack you. So, White Rage, Voter Suppressancy, those books were created to as a peace offering to white people for the first book, Understanding. Let's keep watching. Let's keep watching.
Divide. I began by asking her to go back in time and talk about where the Second Amendment came from.
This emerged out of the fear of black people from slavery, that there was this massive fear about these slave revolts, black people demanding their freedom, being willing to have an uprising to gain their freedom. And what that meant then was that you had this language of, we've got to keep this ferocious monster in chains. And you saw with each revolt, with each uprising, a series of statutes being put in place to say that African American, that the enslaved, that black people could not own weapons, that they could not have access to weapons. And you also saw the rise and the structure of slave patrols and militias that were there and designed to contain that black population. As the nation began to develop, as you had this war of independence, there was this fear of arming black people, the fear that even free blacks who were armed would provide a kind of sense of what freedom looked like to the enslaved. But the exigencies of war required that arming, required having black folks in the Continental Army. But as the nation developed after that war, one of the things that you had.
So what she's saying is, black people. I break it down like this: black people have always knew who their enemy was, and they always fought to protect their families. So this old food stuff that the Israelite camps and came up with, old foods, and y'all didn't do nothing. Young people saying y'all didn't do nothing to get yourself out of slavery. Y'all didn't fight back. Yeah, we always fought back. Our ancestors fought back. And what you guys have to learn how to do now is to fight back. So that's what I'm trying to show you. And what she's saying is that guns has always been the way to equalize self-defense, to self-defense, not attack, but self-defense. If you have to go attack, you will go attack. But to start off, we are not attacking, we wait on Christ. But we will self-defense and hunt you down when you do something to our families. That's what every good nation does. You protect yourself by defending when somebody attack you, and you might have to go on the offense and chase down criminals and handcuff them and put them in chains and bring them back. And if their government wants to negotiate for them, then they can do that. They can release our prisoners. They can do what they are supposed to do to keep these treaties. If we don't enforce them keeping the treaties, they're not going to keep them. So what they wanted to continue to do after they had put us all to sleep and make us think that they're the government and their laws are the law, and we don't have any hope, and we're not together. They got us divided, and they got us conquered, and we're hopeless. Post-traumatic slave syndrome. Thank you, Dr. Joy DeGruy. Once they got us in that frame of mind, in that way of thinking, then their thing was to hold us there. So we can't let them have guns. We can't make them think they can defend themselves. We can't let them know that we are afraid of them when they arm themselves and become equal with us. We can't let them know that we know that they're better fighting men and women than us, that they are more stronger than us. that God is waking them up to stop us from holding them in slavery. We can't let them know that that they are God's chosen people. We can't let them know that God loved them above all other nations. Can't let them know that we are the devil's chosen people. We can't let them know this. So what we do, uh, they're gonna talk about the young man they shot while his daughter and Costell. The Costello dude, while his wife and daughter was in the car, and the police said, I don't know why I did it. Yeah, you know why you did it. You know why you did it. For the same reason she's given here, they send their patrol out to put fear in us, so we won't have guns, so we won't address them. We won't address them back with our militia to defend ourselves. We won't defend ourselves. We'll give them the uh, 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 we'll give them consent to rule over us. And that's what God is trying to wake us up and bring us back to now, is to stop giving them consent and give God consent, the Most High Yahweh consent to rule in our lives. But we have to be in our proper person. I want to keep reiterating that.
Had happening was with the Constitution, with the drafting of the Constitution, because the militias themselves had proven so untrustworthy, unreliable as a force to fight against the British invasion, that James Madison, in drafting the Constitution, had language.
Hear what she called us and what they called us, a militia. We fought for them as a militia. The militia is not a bad word. It's not a bad term. Forming a militia to fight against foreign terrorists and threats is not bad.
In there that you would have federal control of the militias. Well, when the Constitution went up for ratification to the states, by the time it got to Virginia, the anti-federalists in Virginia were in an uproar. George Mason and Patrick Henry were thinking about this militia being under the control of the federal government. They were like, we will be left defenseless. We cannot trust the federal government that has these folks from Pennsylvania and these folks from Massachusetts to be willing to engage the militia when the slaves revolt. We cannot trust the federal government to protect us. We will be left defenseless. And they began to demand a Bill of Rights that would provide protection, that would curtail federal power. And they began to demand as well a new constitutional convention. That threat of what that meant sent James Madison into the first Congress determined to write a Bill of Rights that would quell that dissent, that would short circuit that movement for a new constitutional convention. And we've already seen what the power of the South has meant in terms of when the Constitution was being drafted itself, how the South said that we will not sign on to become part of this United States of America.
See, everything she's saying is irrelevant to us. But you see how it's like she straddles the fence. The fence. She's straddling the fence. But she will never tell you that everything they did is irrelevant to us. Whatever they're thinking, their fears, and they're not being able, I just explained it to you, they're scared of us. Because what they are doing, they are breaking the law, and they are criminals, vagabonds, terrorists, and they're afraid that God is going to wake us up, the dry bones up, and create a great army and expel them out of the land. That's what they're afraid of. They're afraid that they're going to be found out to be the criminals that they are, and God is going to judge them, which he is doing right now. Let me see. Can't get Second Ezra on this phone. No, that's Revelation. Let me see if I can get Revelation. Let's read Revelation 6 and 8. This is the fifth seal. Yeah, this is the and when he had opened the fourth seal, I heard, this is the fourth seal. I heard the voice of the fourth beast saying, "Come and see." Verse 8, Revelation 6 and 8. And I looked, and behold, a pale horse, and his name that sat on him was Death, and hell followed with him. And the power was given to them over the fourth part of the earth to kill with the sword, and with hunger, and with death, and with the beasts of the earth. Okay, we're talking about two things right now. We want to first identify the characters here. And I looked and beheld a pale horse. That's Esau. Right? And his name that sat on him was Death. That's Esau. And hell followed with him. That's Esau going to hell. This is prophecy. Esau is going, and the Edomites and all the nations, 83, are going to hell. Isaiah 14 and 21. This is hell right here. Okay, everybody has the wrong, most Christians and people of the world have the wrong concept of what hell is. This is hell. I'm fixing to show you what hell is. For the Lord, Isaiah 14 and 1, for the Lord will have mercy on Jacob, and will yet choose Israel, and set them in their own land. That's heaven. That's heaven. That's heaven for us. We in hell now. We out of our land. We no more mercies being shown to us right now by the Lord turned his back. When we turned our back on him, he said, okay, he left us to our own devices. We chose the world. We chose to be citizens of the world. We gave them our title deed to the earth. We stopped watching and stopped being watchers and judges on the earth, and we gave it to the nations. And now this is how they're treating us, right? We see how they're treating us. This is our heaven, though. For the Lord will have mercy on Jacob, and will choose Israel, and set them in their own land, our heaven. And the strangers shall be joined with them. Yeah, y'all coming. Y'all coming. Some of y'all don't want to be in our heaven. And the strangers shall be joined with them, and they shall cleave to the house of Jacob. Not Ishmael, not Esau, not Japheth, not Ham. The house of Jacob. And the people shall take them. Jacob shall take these nations and bring them to their place. We're going to take them. That means they don't want to go, but we're going to take them. They ain't going to resist much, because we're going to have those supernatural bodies. We're going to have dominion back. We're going to be in our right minds. Take them in their place. And the house of Israel shall possess them. Shall possess them in the land of the Lord, for servants and handmaids. They're going to be our servants and handmaids, according to the Most High and his prophecy that he gave all through the Bible. All through the Bible. For handmaids. And they shall take them captive. We're going to take them. They're going to be captive. They ain't going to want it. They're going to surrender to it. They're going to assimilate. They're going to consent, because they have no choice. The Most High is doing this. He give us our power back as the gods of the earth. No weapon shall harm us. Black Adam in the flesh. And shall take them captive, who captives they were, and they shall rule over their oppressors. The whole earth has been our oppressors. Every nation has oppressed us and held us in captivity, and beat us and treated us like the dogs and slaves on the earth. And it shall come to pass in that day that the Lord shall give thee rest from thy sorrow. That's us. We getting the power, right? And I'm going to show you in Revelation 6 and 8 who who these people are. The last day, this prophecy, I'm going to show it to you in Revelation 6 and 8. And it shall come to pass in that day the Lord shall give thee rest from thy sorrows and from thy fear, post-traumatic stress disorder, thank you, Dr. Joy Guru, and from the hard bondage wherein thou was made to serve. Now, let's run down to 21. You say, it can't happen to us. We didn't do it. We didn't put y'all in slavery. Well, let's see. Let's see, you children of the evil nations. Okay. Okay. Isaiah 14 and 20. Thou shalt not be joined with them in burial, because thou hast destroyed thy land and slain thy people. The seed of evildoers shall never be renowned. Yeah, renowned. Okay? So here's to the evildoers on the earth today saying we didn't do it. That was our ancestors. We did nothing to you. Verse 21. Prepare slaughter for his children. Prepare slaughter for his children. The sins of the fathers falling back on his children. For the iniquity of their fathers. Prepare slaughter for his children for the iniquity of their fathers. Well, see, here's what y'all don't realize. Y'all can't see past the nose on your face. The babies you fed to alligators, what did they do wrong? The people that was born in slavery, what did they do wrong? The people whose children you sold and beat and raped and sold for harlots, men and women, the boys and the girls, for 500 years, what did they do wrong? What did they do to you? What did they do wrong? The sins of the fathers pass on to the children, okay? As do the covenants, as do the promises. You can't take us away from our promises. We already suffered the punishment. We already suffered we did our sentence. Now we want our inheritance back. Prepare slaughter for his children for the iniquity of their fathers, that they do not rise. Your rising is over. Your promise, the promise of Esau, killing to live, is over. That's over. Nor possess the land. That's over. That's over. That's over. Nor fill the faces of the world with cities. That's over, Esau. That's over. No, let's get back to this. Wait, no, let's go back to Revelations 6 and 8. I'm going to show you. Okay, let's go back here. I almost forgot. Okay, Revelation 6 and 8. This is the fourth seal being opened. It's already been opened. It's open now. It's happening now. And I looked, and behold, pale horse, name and sat on him was death and hell. This is the spirit moving, bringing these things to that pale horse, which is the Edomites. The melanin has been cursed from their skin, same as Cain. Death, I showed you hell. I showed some of them ain't gonna surrender. They're gonna fight Christ. They're gonna fight us back. They will never surrender. That's why you ain't gonna get reparations. That's why those militias, they're gonna fight and kill you one by one until you gather up. They're gonna kill you on the police stops. They're going to kill you every chance they get, poison your food. You still got them handling your food. You still got them handling all your resources. They still can control your neighborhoods. Until we join together, when we join together, they're going to be too scared to infiltrate us, because they're gonna know that we know they shouldn't be there. And if you come in here, you must be coming in here to turn yourself in to go to jail for a crime. You will not infiltrate us anymore, thanks to God, the Most High, Israelites, and people waking up, realizing that you are our enemy. The people who did us like this is our enemy. They can never be our friends. We can never trust you. How could we trust you? Y'all all look alike. You got some good white people, you look like the bad white people. You got bad white people, you look like the good white people. We can't trust you. You can't trust us. Just like this woman about to tell you, you prove you couldn't trust us. Get them guns out of them niggas' hands. Because we can't trust them. We don't know the good ones from the bad ones. Okay? And power shall be given them over the fourth part of the earth. Who is the them? Well, just look at the people who don't have power. That's how you figure out who the them is. Power given to them. We don't have power. We don't have an army. Everybody else got power. They have a country. They have a military. Everybody else that come in here has power. Esau has power. He don't need to be given power or a sword. Power of the fourth part of the earth to kill with sword. Who has been, this is perfect. They don't want us to be able to defend ourselves by stopping them from killing us, by killing them first with a sword. They don't want us to have swords. To kill with the sword, that means we're going to be given swords. We're going to get swords. We got swords. That's why I say it's happening now. Whenever have we ever had possession of all the ammo and the guns to do hand-to-hand combat back with our enemies? Right now, they're too afraid to try to take the guns because they know they're going to incite a hand-to-hand combat racial war. They don't have the people to man the guns that they have. And they don't have the power of the Most High on their side. They don't have the blessings of Esau to kill, to live by killing. They can't live by killing anymore. And God is whistling their numbers down because the earth, okay, with these floods, look what these floods are doing. To kill with the sword and with hunger. Well, you ain't got to worry about Donald Trump. Donald Trump, you don't have to worry about nobody picking plants. And God is flooding it all out. He flooding all the food out. Thank God to the Most High God. He flooding y'all food out. Y'all can't grow and you can't pick. You can't stand in the sun. When he gonna have our food grow right up out of our backyard where you're not gonna be able to get to because we're gonna be united thanks to the prophecy of Hosea, God giving Hosea the prophecy that we're gonna gather back up. And y'all gonna say, look what God is doing for them. Look at him showing them compassion. They come back to their senses. They realize who they are. They realize what the position God chose them to be in, and they accept it. And look what God is doing. You are the children. You are the sons of the living God. This is what all I work for. Only video. So you want to talk about me and laugh? You ain't got nobody. You ain't got nobody looking at you. God got the right people looking. The people with the big platform, Big Judah, and everybody else that y'all laughed at and said it wasn't saying anything when the Israelites was laughing and saying he's talking about that sovereignty, he's crazy, they crazy, trying to say, we ain't in slavery no more. That dude is crazy, Obed is crazy. But now, look at all the people going against y'all, trying to bring all the nations, all the mulattoes, the terror in and helping them to come in and saying that they are Israelites when God said you don't know who they are. He told you don't differentiate between the wheat and the tare because you don't know who they are. You can't pull them up and plant them somewhere else and try to save them. Every time you reach and grab those mulatto, those tare, you leave the Hebrews behind. I ain't seen y'all once yet go down and get a black Israelite Hebrew and bring them out and raise them up and try to talk to them in those southern hemisphere, southern regions of this fourth part over here. I never seen y'all go down and look for the alpha. I've seen other people go down and find them and show them to you. Check and effect, ACE. They go down, they look, and they show you where they at, and y'all will not spend a YouTube dollar to go down there and find these people or even send them a email. Hunger, death, and with the beast of the earth. We already talked about that. So let's listen to a little more of her video, and then we're going to end it.
America, if we don't get the 3/5 clause, if we don't get 20 additional years on the Atlantic slave trade, if we don't get a fugitive slave clause. And so the South had already wielded its power in terms of being willing to scuttle the United States of America. And Madison believed strongly that this threat coming out of the anti-federalists in the South, out of Virginia, would do the same thing. And that becomes the basis for this Second Amendment.
And can you talk about all of the players? I mean, you just mentioned James Madison, Patrick Henry, the slave states, and how this country came together based on this terror of slaves rebelling.
Yes,
enslaved people rebelling.
The enslaved people rebelling, and that fear.
You hear how she formed it. This terror. They're calling us terror. They're calling what we're doing as terror when we stand up against them to stop them from treating us like slaves. You hear what she said? She said it in a way, and this black woman did not even respond to it. Wait a minute. Can you form that another way? Because people defending themselves against terrorists and chosen people, the devil's chosen people who had did all this harm to us, God called them our enemies. You calling them terror for standing up against them. That's how they stop us from resisting. When they use words like that, we get scared.
That, so you have George Washington, who is a slave owner, who brings, in fact, some of his enslaved people to Philadelphia for the Constitutional Convention. You have Thomas Jefferson, who is not there, but he is writing in to Madison, and Madison is writing to him. And one of the things that Jefferson is concerned about is slavery, is the way that it will be depicted. And so you have this silence. There's a silence in the Constitution. It's hovering over the formation of the Constitution, like Banquo's ghost, haunting it, shaping it, but not being explicitly said. But it is the power that is creating this sophistry, this really weird, we believe in freedom and equality, but we want 20 additional years in the Atlantic slave trade. What they said in South Carolina was that South Carolina would be just a backward place. Our wealth comes from the Negroes. That is our natural resource, and we must protect it at all cost. So this is what is the part of the tectonic plates moving at this time in this founding of this nation.
Professor Anderson, could you also explain the significance of the Uniform Militia Act of 1792 and its role in...
We don't really have to understand that. Like I said, whatever they do legally amongst themselves to form checks and balances to hold us down, we can just bypass all that, eliminate everything by not worrying about it, because when we do what God told us to do, bethink ourselves in the land of our captivity, think about who you are, think about who your ancestors said you are, think about the things that have been written about us by the first explorers who were soldiers. They wrote it down. The indigenous people of this land were copper-colored people. Bottom line, we were here. We know they wasn't here. And that's all we need, and we have many, many, many more sources to prove that we were here before they got here. And the people they set up and the things they set up in the laws is to steal our identity. They are to steal our identity. That's their intention. And we can rebuttal that. We can debunk that by just coming back to being who we are. I know you Hotep and all you people, you're not gonna come. Y'all the 2/3, but the 1/3 is enough. The 1/3 of the Israelites to come back, take on our identity as Negroes in this land. And if there are some people with less melanin in their skin that can prove to themselves that they are Israelites and their ancestry is black, is colored people with melanin, they are part of the Israelites, then they can prove it to themselves and come right on in, keep the laws. People that want to cleave to us, so-called Edomites, white people that say, hey, I'm with y'all, and we going to cleave over here because we know y'all can't trust us, and we can be so easily infiltrated. We going to stay over here to keep y'all safe, and we going to help y'all from a distance, but we still with y'all. We gonna watch our people and fight against our own people. We're going to unite to put white supremacy under our feet. Then y'all doing what you're supposed to do according to God as citizens on the earth. And I guarantee you that any citizenship in the Israelite kingdom is better than what you're going through now. It's better than being a citizen of the devil. You people, you nations have been chosen by the devil to do his bidding, the spiritual demon Satan, to do his bidding, and he hates you. He's proven it through his leaders, Donald Trump and all the presidents and all the thieves and all the vagabonds and all the terrorists that brought this to our shores and took over the title deed of the earth, killed to live, stole to live. He's proven to you that he don't love you. Because while we read that the sins of your fathers shall be passed down, the punishment shall be passed down to you. The punishments for the sins that your ancestors did, you held this system in place for them, you're going to be punished. You're guilty too. You just as guilty as your ancestors, like we just as guilty to come in slavery. As our ancestors started it, we continue to sin against God. So we all are guilty under the Most High God. If you want to fix it, fix it. Fix it and do what's right. You can't listen to everything these people are saying on their podcasts and stuff. You have to know the truth. So all praises to the Most High. See you again.